What is the Bible? It claims to come from the God who created all things. The first verse of the Bible reads, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth." In addition, the Bible claims to be the very word of this creating God. The word Bible comes from a Greek word which means the books, and it literally is a book of books. A table of contents reveals that there are 66 different books. These 66 books were written over a period of 1,500 years, ranging from the time of Moses, who lived about 1,400 years before Christ, through the time of Jesus and his followers, about 100 years after his birth. There are two major divisions in these books, the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament has 39 different books written by different men between 1400 and 400 BC, a 1,000-year span. There are four major sections in the Old Testament: law, history, wisdom, literature, and prophecy. The law refers to the first 5 books, sometimes called the Pentateuch. These books include a history of creation as well as Israel's origin. They record the law that God gave to the nation of Israel. The books of history continue the account of Israel after they reach the promised land of Canaan. This history covers approximately 1,000 years. The wisdom literature provided practical teaching and application of the law's wisdom for everyday life. The prophets were books written by men that God chose to speak to Israel throughout their history. They contain major prophets and minor prophets, terms that refer to the length of the books. After the Old Testament was written, there was complete silence from God for 400 years. Then God spoke to men again in the New Testament during the first century following Jesus' birth. The New Testament is composed of the Gospels, history, epistles, and prophecy. There are 4 gospel accounts that focus on the life of Jesus while he was here on the earth, especially his ministry. The book of Acts reveals the actions of Jesus' apostles as they spread the gospel throughout the world after Jesus ascended into heaven. The epistles were inspired letters written to churches and to individual Christians during this period. The apostle Paul wrote at least a dozen, and others were penned by Peter, James, John, and Jude. The book of Revelation is the last book in the Bible. It is a letter to 7 churches of Asia Minor at the end of the first century, which contains prophecy about the kingdom that Christ established. The Old Testament looks forward to the coming Messiah. The New Testament describes Jesus as the Messiah and refers back to his life here upon the earth. All 66 of these books claim to come from God and are tied together by the thread of God's plan for human redemption. It is a thrilling story, one worth investigating. This presentation is provided by Christians who meet at the Citrus Park Church of Christ in Tampa, Florida. And check our website at citrusparkchurch.com for more resources like these.